Soundstripe. Soundstripe.
Hello, welcome to Hawk Talk, the podcast where we keep you up to date with everything that's going on at the Batemans Bay Football Club. Mick, I call it the best football club in the world. I'm sure you'd agree.
Yes, mate, for sure.
I'm Joel Erickson, your host. That's Michael Kenny, the co-host. And today, our first very special guest of the year is Damon Connick, better known as Nazi, around the club, our Rising Stars coach for the 2025 season. How are you, Damon?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How you doing?
Hey,
Yeah, good.
Nazi.
Hey, Poon, how are you?
Good, mate.
Thanks for joining us this week. Look, we'll get into a bit of an interview with you a bit later, but just quickly, you must be really excited about getting involved with a program that Mick and Billy really kind of laid the foundation for last year.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. First game on Sunday, and I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. All right, let's get into what happened last weekend. It was round one for the three senior teams at the footy club. Mick, we'll start with the women's. They kicked off the day against the Southern Cats, and it was a pretty decent win for them, 6-17-53 to 2 behinds. Based on the scoreboard, seems like it could have been probably a bigger win with a bit more accuracy, but I guess you take it round one, you're shaking off a lot of cobwebs.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I thought the girls were actually really impressive. I think I probably flagged it last week that they've got better and better each week throughout the trial process, and they looked really good on the weekend. Obviously, coming up against the Cooma side that had their inaugural match on Saturday. So, but yeah, I think likewise as the game sort of went on, they got better and better, and the girls were obviously really impressive, and all the coaching staff, Kim and Brett and Shannon, done a great job getting them ready for the season.
Yeah, I will say, I think anyone who's been at the club for any kind of significant amount of time would remember our first game with the women's program. I think it was against Ainsley from memory at Hanging Rock. And like, I guess you kind of look at how this team's going, and it's like it's a brave step for any football club to kind of start any new team, really. So full credit to the Southern Cats for taking that step and bringing a new team into the fold and having a crack, against a team that is now pretty well established in Batemans Bay.
Definitely, mate. Yeah, for sure. It's obviously going to be a great thing for their football club, which it obviously has for us. And we've been a part of doing that for a few years now. We obviously had the girls come in around 6-7 years ago, and then we've had our men's Rising Stars last year, and now obviously the women's Rising Stars this year. So we definitely know what they're going through, and it's obviously exciting times for their football club.
Yep. Let's go to reserve grade. The reigning premiers, and you guys picked up the flag during the week, I saw, which is obviously a pretty good feeling. I'm assuming that'll fly pretty prominently in your home opener this weekend. But they unfortunately went down on the weekend to the Southern Cats. That was an 8-5-53 to 9-3-57 game. Looks like it was tight the whole way through.
Yeah, I think Nazi was there watching. I think he probably attest it wasn't the best viewing, that's for sure. Round one of the reserve grade season. So
Very hot.
plenty of blokes that probably haven't been to training yet either. But yeah, no, the boys battled. It was pretty depleted reserve grade side, to be fair. But yeah, it was pretty tight. Quarter time, we sort of felt like we were probably out of it a little bit, although Cooma did kick with a couple of goal breeze in the first quarter, and then we'll manage to sneak a couple back, and it was pretty well sort of neck and neck, like you say, mate, till the final siren. So we were lucky enough to get in front with about a minute to go. Liam Mowat kicked the goal, and put us a couple of points in front, and then the Kuma had a shot pretty much right on the siren, and won by 4 points. So unfortunately, that's footy, and that's probably the one that got away for the Rezzies. But we'll dust that off, and we'll go again this week.
Well, I will note as well. Last year you did have a win in round one, but I think we've spoken about this last year on the podcast. But the Babins Bay Reserve grade team has traditionally started the seasons probably a bit slower than we'd like.
Yep.
And you mentioned that there are a lot of players out. So, I mean, you've been involved. I did notice one M Kenny on the goal kickers list in that game, Mick. But it's not the kind of game that you would base your season off, really. It's round one, depleted side, kick after the siren kind of loss. Obviously, you're not the coach, but what do you think? What was the messaging from Cam after the game?
It was still pretty positive, mate. Like I said, it is only round one, and I thought there's definitely a few positives to take out of it. There's some new guys to the football club that we got to see have their first game, and like we say, we'll sort of dust that off, and with I think there's sort of 5 or 6 back in the fold this week. We'll probably look for a bit better performance in the twos this Sunday.
Yeah, so just notable there, Liam Mowat kicked 3 goals, Sam Truesdale kicked 2. The best, Callum Lee, Michael Kenny, Jake Prince. I think if those 3 are going to be in your best more often than not, you're probably going to see a bit of success this season, I would suggest, Michael.
Yeah, it was good fun, mate. I enjoyed being back in the twos, and hopefully it stays that way.
How are the calves, mate?
No, they're not real good actually. They're pretty ordinary. I was first in line for the physio last night. Don't worry about that.
Oh, I could imagine. Let's move on to first grade. This was a big win for the boys as they embark on season 2025. Seahawks 18-16, 124 defeated Belconnen 2-1-13. A nice little comfortable 111-point win there, Mick.
Yeah, it was. Oh, sorry, mate. You're right.
No, I was just going to say, from a coach's perspective, what really pleased you about this round one performance?
Yeah, I actually said to the boys after the game, it just looked like a really well drilled, disciplined football team, and I was really proud of the way they went about it. Obviously, started the game really strong. We probably didn't have our kicking boots on early. We missed a few opportunities early, but I thought the pressure and intensity, the midfield unit, Jared Thompson off half-back flank. There was a few things that were really pleasing, and really good start to the year for the seniors. And like you say, it's only round one, so it's not getting too excited just yet. But obviously a good little start.
I will note Jared Thompson is listed first in your list of the best players from the weekend. It seems like that move as that ball distributor from the halfback flank has worked out early.
Yeah, I think we sort of flagged that early on, mate. And he's played the 2 trial games off the halfback flank as well, and obviously going into round one. And we just feel with the team that we have and the style of football that we want to play, that he's probably better suited there. I think anyone who's familiar with Jared obviously know that he can play anywhere on the park, but we probably just feel that with the team and the bit of a mix that we've got at the moment, he's probably best served there for the time being.
I mean, he's arguably probably the best field kick you have in that team. And I think a lot of successful teams do kind of build from the back. So I'm not surprised at all that he's had a really good performance playing that position, put it that way. Let's go through the goal kickers. Buster Ware, he's always up there. He kicked 5 on the weekend. Harry Shannon, new guy at the club, kicked 4.
Yep.
Doubles for Kyle O'Malley, Alex Makey, and Michael Thane. And also good to see Tully Ware on the goal kickers beat. He obviously played all last season in the Rising Stars, now getting an opportunity as your main ruckman in the ones. Were you pretty happy with how your young guys went?
Yeah, definitely, mate. I thought Alex Makey in the first half in particular is probably a bit of a foil for Buster. They were probably on to him a little bit more in the second half, but he had some really good touches early. Cal Dawn give us some really good minutes in the middle. Probably give us something a little bit different in the middle. He's really, really agile. He's quick on his feet, light on his feet, and give us a little bit of a point of difference in the middle. And like you said, Tully Ware in the ruck, outstanding. Had a great game and was probably in our top 2 or 3 best players on the day as well.
Yeah. So look, a big round one win, Michael. Mick? What's the messaging going into next week after having that kind of win first up?
I don't think anything really changes too much, Jolie. As you're probably aware of, and some people probably are, I'm a pretty process driven coach, not really results driven. So it's more around sticking to that process, making sure that we're doing those things right and those fundamental football things. We're doing those all right, and the rest can generally take care of itself. So. That was sort of the messaging last night, and yeah, once we get into training, Thursday night will be the same deal as just making sure that those little things and the structures and the zones and everything, we're really organised and we all know our role, and we keep focusing on that. Then the results and the score will take care of themselves.
I was looking at the team list that you released last week as well, Mick. It looks like there's a few guys still to come back into that team as well.
Yeah, there is, mate. Yeah, so we'll have Sam Molina come back in this week. Josh Mulrooney is probably a maybe. He'll probably have a fitness test tomorrow night. And yeah, there's still a few other guys that are lurking around as well. So yeah, it's looking pretty promising, mate. That's for sure.
I think you'll agree. A round one win always feels better than a round one loss. So, well done to the Hawks. 2 wins out of 3. And we know what the reserve grade can bring. They proved it last year. So, I think it's going to be obviously a knee-jerk reaction to one game, but it's looking like it's going to be another very fruitful season at the Seahawks. Let's look ahead to round 2, because obviously round 2 could make me look like an absolute fool, as it tends to do with anyone who likes to make big sweeping calls like that after round 1, Mick. But you're travelling again.
We are, mate. Yep.
This time on a Sunday, which is a bit different for the seniors, taking on Ainsley up at Allen Ray Oval. Women's at 10, Resis at 12, seniors at 2. This was a team last year that all 3 grades kind of dealt with pretty easily. But I guess, what do you say to your group, knowing that history? What do you say to them going into a game like this?
Much like I just said before, mate, really just process driven. Just working on our team structures and obviously our individual roles. Yeah, nothing really changes too much. We're not really looking at ladder positions from last year or what really happened last week or anything like that. It's more just focused on ourselves at the moment.
Yep. Team lists will be out later in the week for those 3 games. But let's talk about Sunday. Sunday's a big day at Hanging Rock Oval. We've got the Rising Stars men's team kicking off their season at 11:15 a.m. against East Lake. I'll ask this question of you, Damon, because you're obviously the head coach here. How do you feel like your team's shaping up for round 1?
In the girls, yeah, we're shaping up very well actually. Probably about 10 days ago, I was a little bit concerned, but we've had a good late rush. Probably about 5 or 6 players. So yeah, it looks like we'll have around about 20 for Sunday. I have no idea how we'll go. I don't know what they're like. I don't know what we're going to be like, but I'm sure we'll be pretty competitive.
Yeah, sorry, I've put my I haven't got my ducks all in a row. I guess women's at 1:30. That's the important game for you, Damon. So 20 players, you said. For this
I think so. We'll have about that amount. Yeah,
it feels like a pretty good number for a first game for a team like that.
But yeah, I was worried. We were just scraping a team about a week ago, but yeah, we've had a late rush. Thanks a lot to Lena Freya. She's done a great job recruiting and made my job a lot easier. But no, it's looking really good.
Now, Mick, I did notice an email was sent around to, I guess, sponsors, fans of the club. You're obviously hoping for this to be a really big day at the home ground.
Yeah, it's obviously a big occasion, mate. To be able to offer this, standard of football to girls on the south coast. So, we are the only club from Sydney down on the New South Wales south coast that does have an under-18s women's program. So, it's something that's pretty unique to the south coast. So yeah, we're just hoping that we can get obviously a fair crowd down there to support the girls, and like Nars said, really good numbers to have 20 for round one, and hopefully we can entice a few more girls that might be on the fence and get those rego numbers up even more.
Yeah, Damon, I guess I'll ask you this: like, how's the feeling in your group? Are they really excited to get kind of stuck into such a? They may not. I guess they probably won't realise it at the time, but it's kind of an historic season for the club in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah, well, yeah, no one's ever going to be able to take away from the fact that they'll be a part of the first ever Seahawks Rising Stars team. And, in 10 or 12 years, I'm sure they'll look back on that with a lot of pride. But no, they're really, really excited. A few of them have been filled in for the women on the weekend and held themselves really well. And they've played practice matches. And, yeah, they can't wait. They're all very excited.
That's great to hear. Let's also talk about the juniors because they're kicking off this weekend on Saturday at Hanging Rock Oval. Most of the teams are hosting the Narooma Lions, Mick, but we do have a couple on the bye.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess run us through what you're hoping to see on Saturday from the junior club.
Yep. Yeah. So we've got 4 grades in action round one. So our under 13s and our under 16s girls will have the bye.
Yep.
So yeah, obviously we'll have our 9s, 11s, and our 15s and 17s boys going around. I know a lot of those grades are, especially our 15s and 17s. They've obviously been training for a long period of time now. So yeah, I'm sure that they'll be ready and keen to get stuck into it. Obviously coming off the few trial matches that they had at the Catalina Invitational the other weekend.
Yeah, so give us the game times. When should people start rocking up to the Oval if they're wanting to see a great day of football, Mick?
Jeez, you've stumped me there.
Oh no,
Charlie, think you've done me in.
I've got the AFL Sapphire Coast website here. So under 9s are at 8 o'clock according to the website. Under 11s 9:10. So it looks like it's an 8 a.m. start.
Yep.
So nice and early, but definitely worth it to get down and support the next generation of the club. Hey, I'm going to hand over to you now, Mick, because this is your favourite part of the day. We've revamped this. We've revamped this part of the podcast. Mick's questions have changed. Probably gotten better as well, I'd say, Mick, from what I heard you saying beforehand.
Bigger and better, mate. We said that last week. That's what we're going for.
That's true. That is true. I just I guess I expect that from you, but it's me that I'm worried about. Let's be honest. Damon, this is where we're going to put you under a bit of the spotlight. Mick's got some real hard hitting stuff first of all, and then we'll just, I guess, get into a bit of a chat about the team you're coaching this year, but also your history at the club and whatnot. So I'll hand over to you, Mick.
Righto. We'll get into it, Nars. Obviously been around the football club for a long period of time, mate. So first question is your favourite Seahawks teammate over the journey?
I'll go with Big Sack, Matty Cusack. 99% of his highlights would be off ground, but yeah, the main thing I remember him on ground is doing his knee about 5 times, and very funny man on the drink.
That's a good answer. I wasn't expecting Zach, actually. That's good.
I just have to. Did you say Big Sack? Did I hear correctly?
Cusack is his surname.
Yeah. No,
you're looking for him on Facebook. He's under Sue Ridge.
Oh man.
Right. Next question. Strangest food combination.
This is probably one I've eaten since I was a little kid, actually, which is a salada with tomato sauce. I've always been a fan of that.
Yeah, that's a bit different.
Yeah, I recommend try it.
Go to karaoke song.
I will go with "Don't Look Back in Anger" by Oasis.
Oh yeah, that's a banger. That's a good one. I'd be interested in this one because you've obviously done a fair bit of traveling. But if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I've always would love to have done a sporting trip to the US, so like the NBA, NFL, the Masters, the baseball, something like that. If I ever had $50,000 to do it, it'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll go in about 4 years when the current president's not there.
Let's not get into that. The best piece of advice that you've ever received?
I'll go with control what you can control. Yeah, don't try and get stressed out by something that you have absolutely no control over. Yeah, you waste a lot of time doing that.
Yep. No, very good one. And if you could go in a time machine and go back to any place and time, where would you go?
I will go back to the 2011 AFL Grand Final to watch the Cats beat the Pies.
How did I know we were going to have a Geelong answer in there?
I had a few grand finals to choose from. I stuck on it.
God, I just want to point out I've never been happier that someone doesn't know who I barrack for, Mick. So I'm just gonna.
Oh yeah, we won't mention that.
Yeah, I'm backing out of this one. I think.
Same colours as the Seahawks, but
Yeah.
Well, that would have been fun too.
Oh,
You tired of that one.
that's at the bottom of my list. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm done, Jolie.
You're
I'm
done.
finished.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's good stuff from you, Mick. Yep. Let's put it out there. 10 times better than the questions last year. Too many palmies last year. What was that about?
Thanks, mate. I appreciate the good feedback there.
I was genuine as well. I promise. Hey, Damon, let's just get to know you a little bit better here, and your history at the club. Tell us when you first became involved with the Seahawks, and give us kind of a rundown of the time you played, any other kind of positions you might have held at the club.
I moved to Bateman's Bay in 2004, and yeah, basically the first week I got here, I went to training. I actually rang the president of I don't think he was president, but it was Danny White was the very first person I spoke to. Just asked him a few questions, and yeah, I came down to training, and I hadn't played for about 3 years, and went straight into the seniors. I was very unfit, and then yeah, ended up that year playing in the reserves premiership in the first year. And yeah, I played in 3 other Resi's premierships at the club since then. 3 in a row in, what was it, 9, 10, 11, I think. And then yeah, I've been on the committee for a while. I was vice president for a while, president for about a year. I did a bit of I coached the Resis for 3 years there. We lost the grand final, and then our first year in Canberra, which we got flogged most games. But yeah, it was a good move, and yeah, we're where we are now because we made that move to Canberra. And I did coach. There was a girls under 15s. It wasn't a proper comp. It was more just a trial thing a few years ago. And then yeah, back this year coaching the under 18s.
Damon, you mentioned that you've had quite a bit of experience and history with the reserve grade team at the club.
Yeah,
you must love the direction that it's gone in, and you must have loved the premiership last year.
Yeah, no, it was good. I went up and watched it. Yeah, I was way too old to play probably, but yeah, I got very, very itchy feet watching those boys celebrate that premiership.
I could imagine.
Yeah, because I'd been there through a few of the hard years with them, so yeah, it was very well deserved.
Yeah. Now let's talk about this year. You've come back into the coaching fold. You're coaching the Rising Stars women's team. Yeah. Damon, tell me what the process was there. Did Mick give you a tap on the shoulder? Did you volunteer? What happened there?
Well, I sort of was thinking about coaching the 17s boys at sort of whatever time it was last year, and then that wasn't sort of going ahead. So I thought, I'll go with the 18s girls. That'd be, I want to dip my toe back in coaching. And I thought that'd be a good place to start. And yeah, messaged Poon, and yeah, he was, he said great. And yeah, I had an interview early this year, or no, late last year, sorry. And yeah, got the job. And yeah, pre-season was in November, and yeah, it's been a really enjoyable experience ever since then.
How have you found? You mentioned that you coached an under 15s kind of trial team a few years back.
Yep. What's
the differences that you found between those two sides? Is there any crossover there in terms of players, or are we talking too far back that
no? There's a couple. Amy, I'm sure Amy White played in that team, and Hunter, and Claudia, who she plays in the women's team now. And yeah, my daughter actually played back then, but she's injured now, so she can't play. But yeah, there's still around the club.
Damon, go on.
Played as well.
Let's talk kind of some of your favourite memories from the club. Do you have a moment where Bateman's Bay Seahawks related where you kind of look back and you go, yep, that's the best moment I've had here?
The 2004 premiership was hard to beat. And then also the 2018 premiership in Canberra, because there was me, Chook and Sudsy were fairly instrumental in moving to Canberra. And in that first year, that I played in the very first game we ever played. I played in seniors and reserves. I think we had about 380 points kicked on us in the 2 games.
No.
And I was thinking, what have we done? But that first year was the only year that we have struggled. Ever since then, we have been very competitive, and we've got 2 premiership trophies in the cupboard to show for it, plus the Rezzies and a strong women's team. So it's just from then to now, it's just amazing what the club's done.
Let's go the other way. Is there a moment where you is there a low point at your time in the Seahawks that you're willing to share?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, I did coach the Rezzies grand final when we lost in 2012, and that wasn't much fun. But that's probably that would probably be the low point, I'd say.
Yeah. I'll ask you this question. What are some of your kind of big memories around the club with Damon?
Nazi was a bloke that I sort of become pretty tight with straight away when I first moved here in 2013, and that was obviously the first year that we did go to Canberra, and we were a pretty tight knit group across both grades, pretty much similar to what we are now, but yeah, definitely on the field. We got the opportunity to play a few games with him there early on, and 2016, Nars was actually the president, and that was my first year of coaching. So we went through that year together, and there was probably a few guys that weren't probably sold on me doing the job, and Nars sort of had my back the whole way through, and we've definitely built up a strong relationship over the journey. That's for sure.
So it sounds like, Damon, you were almost the guy who just about got Mick his first coaching job. You must look at you must look at that moment now in the hindsight of he's now a double premiership coach. You must look at that moment with immense pride, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, I think I was present with Analo as vice at that time, and to be fair, he probably did a lot more than I did that year. But you could just tell talking to Poon that how much he knew about footy and how much he knew about the game, and like I think we had one team in 2015 and we really struggled for numbers, and then Poon took over, and he's pretty much responsible for where the club is today, to be honest. He's done an amazing job.
You mentioned before you moved to town in 2004, which to us probably doesn't sound that long ago, but it is 20 years now. So you're a 20-year veteran at the club.
Yeah.
Is there ever a time where you kind of go, I can't believe where this club is now compared to 20 years ago?
Yeah, no, it is. It's unbelievable. Yeah, the women's team, the reserves winning premierships, and considering the scarf of where we used to be, like I don't want to talk badly of it, but it's basically gone backwards since I got here, and we've gone forward. So it just shows you how we've done well in probably a climate that's not really conducive to what's happened.
Let's talk about your team. Under 18s, the Rising Stars. It's a big journey for them. First season, round 1 this weekend. We have mentioned it previously, but what's the preparation been like for the team?
Well, we've trained pretty much exclusively with the women. We probably have had quite the numbers to do our own drills, and they've been amazing. I can't give enough credit to Kim, to Shannon, to Pedals, and the rest of the girls. They've welcomed them so much. It's been fantastic, and the girls have loved training with them, and hopefully tomorrow night we get a few there. We'll start off with them, and then we can do a few of our own things. But we've trained a lot with them there. They have been fantastic.
Do you have any kind of game day plans in place? Like, are you going to try and, I don't know, maybe set like some kind of little team bonding things that you might do on a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning? And is there anything like that going through, or is it, at this stage you just kind of focused on let's get on the oval, get game 1 out of the way?
Well, it's probably my first chance to get them all together. So I am going to do a bit of get them there a little bit early before the game, and I've got to work out their jumpers numbers and all that sort of stuff. Hopefully they'll the numbers they want will fit, and we'll do a few team rules and our team sort of motto, if you want, what we stand for, and then you'll just go through a basic team rules, and then we'll get into the game. But my plan will be fairly basic for them. A lot of them haven't played a lot of footy, and younger they are, you don't want to overload them with too much. Just basically, learn how to play the game.
Yeah. Give us a rundown of some of the girls that you've been impressed with so far watching them train.
Well, we've had Millie Duncombe. She's been fantastic. Yeah, she's been to virtually every training session. She was, one of the best in the women's game on the weekend. You got Amy White. She's a really good little player. A few of the newer girls, there's like Chloe and Maxine. They've never played footy before, and they're coming along, and you can see the improvement in them already. And then we've got the Isla from Eden and Claire and Sophie from Bermagui, and they played in the women's practice match the other week, and the three of them were nearly the best three players on the ground. So I'm really looking forward to watching them as well.
You mentioned that you've been training with the women, and you did mention this a bit before, but tell me what kind of impact do you think it's had on your girls, being able to not only train with the players, but also, I guess, get probably a bit of hands-on coaching from the girls' coaches as well.
Yeah, that's been as I said, it's been fantastic, and it's made my job a lot easier. And I've got a daughter myself, but I'm a 48-year-old man. It's hard to relate to a teenage girl sometimes. The women have just taken them under their wing and then been really, really good.
Yeah, and have you seen? Sorry, let me try that again. Have you kind of seen the impact of these girls having that next step available to them so close to home?
Oh, yes, that's awesome. Like women's footy, I think is one of the best things that happened to Aussie rules in the past 20 years, especially up here, in the northern states where it's a battle for their hearts and minds. And if you've got the mums playing and the girls playing, that's a huge step up.
Hmm. Yeah. What kind of messaging are you planning to give the girls before the game? Because I mean, you and I and Mick know that obviously in your first year results don't matter, but I was a teenager once playing sport, and it's hard to look past that when you're at such a young age, obviously. So what are your plans in terms of messaging around that?
Yeah, well, I'll just try to say to them, it's underage footy is it's all about development, and the wins, are a secondary thing. But if they develop it, the rate I hope they will, then the wins will come. And if they are better footballers than they are now, by the end of the season, and if 80% of them come back next year, then that's a successful year.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, give me your excitement level as well now on a scale of 1 to 10, Damon.
I'm a pretty laid back guy, I must admit. So probably about a 5 or a 6 at the moment, but I'm sure by Sunday it'll be a 10, and I'll be very, very nervous, I imagine, on Sunday morning.
Your pre-game nerves, you reckon?
I will definitely have. I've got no doubt about that.
Mick, is there anything you want to ask Damon at all?
Not so much, mate. I think it was more, obviously just congratulating him on getting this team off the ground. Like I say, it's going to be a really important piece of our football club moving forward. Now that we give girls opportunity from the ages of 16 through to 18, more of an opportunity to develop in football, and they don't have to make that step straight away into senior women's footy, and we've given them a pathway now. So obviously a massive thanks to Nars for taking on that job, and really looking forward to Sunday, and like you say, results are really irrelevant, but I'm really confident that both our men and women's Rising Stars teams on Sunday will be really competitive, and we'll put on a fair show for the people that are there watching.
And let's hope it's a massive crowd. As we said earlier, first game is 11:15, the first bounce, but I mean, I'd be getting down there earlier, getting yourself a good spot. It's going to be rocking, I reckon. So, look, as Mick said, congratulations, Damon. I guess this weekend is what you've probably been working towards all off season, but also congratulations to the club and yourself, Mick, for getting such a such a good program off the ground as well for this season. All right,
mate. Thank you.
All right, boys. I think we're done. Week 2 is complete. I'm not gonna lie to you, Mick. I think some of my work last week was pretty average. I feel like
hopefully my questions have made up for that, mate.
Mate, your question. I think people are just going to skip through until your questions and then go, "Yep, I'm done." That's enough podcasting for me today. Thanks again, guys. We will see you all next week.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Nars.
No worries, mate.